Let me just start off by asking you what you make of these preliminary results that are coming through and the fact that ANC seem to be on track to lose their overall majority.
Good morning. Yes, I mean, this is a historical moment in the country. I mean, the end of the ANC is over 3 decades dominance of our politics and the humbling and almost, the reckoning of the ANC. And this was almost a referendum on the ANC's past performance and in government. And in the ANC, I mean, to stay in power, I think after these elections, we'll have to put together a coalition.
What does that coalition actually mean in practice? I know we don't know what it looks like, but what does it actually mean for governing? Because there hasn't been a governing coalition so far.
Yes, this is going to be the first time that we've seen in South Africa's modern era a national coalition where there's no majority. Last time we had a coalition was a government of national unity under former President Nelson Mandela. He put it together, although the ANC then in 1994 won a majority, and he put it together, for the sake of unity of the country to bring all races together. I mean, this time it's going to be very, very difficult putting something together because, the ANC doesn't have a minority. We'll have to look at potential partners, some of its enemies, like former President Jacob Zuma. He is Mkhonto Sizwe party that's been doing very, very well. Or he will have to look at economic freedom fighters. Another is a radical, populist party. Or really, for the sake of South Africa, might have to look for much more moderate partners from an economic point of view.
That's certainly going to be the big question, as my colleague Jennifer was explaining to us earlier. I thought it was interesting. You've recently written an opinion piece, and I'm going to read out what you said here because it is quite strong, saying that the loss of power is the ultimate motivator to fulfill promises. What do you mean by that?
Yes, in developing countries like South Africa, when there is, one-party dominance for too long, we don't get that economic growth, we don't get that accountability, and then South Africa has been very clear. ANC has been in power for too long and too complacent. So, I mean, the market reforms that we needed, the structural reforms that we needed, there was up to now no seriousness to do that because voters up to now voted the ANC in despite the ANC's performance and often based on the ANC's past as a movement against apartheid. And I think the uncertainty that we're now getting really brings the accountability.
So when I think of South Africa, for me, it is a country facing many economic issues. You talk about load shedding has been a structural issue for so many years now in South Africa. You talk about high unemployment. You talk about poverty. You talk about corruption. Can these opposition parties actually wield some influence on the economic trajectory of South Africa post these elections?
I mean, all the things you mentioned, power, our infrastructure collapse, the high levels of corruption, these are self-induced by the ANC in government because the ANC had absolutely no proper opposition to hold it accountable. With a coalition, I think for the first time since 1994, we will actually see some kind of accountability and some kind of urgency to deal with all of these structural issues, which are all of them, most of them self-induced. I mean, our unemployment is self-induced because the government has just poorly managed the state and the economy. The same with the infrastructure, which is really a binding constraint. Broken down infrastructure is a binding constraint to growth. And again, there hasn't been a political will to deal with these because the ANC was still complacent. And I think all of these things will now, I think there'll be much more impetus to deal with these structural reforms because if the ANC doesn't do it, if it's in a coalition, the next time the ANC will be out of power.